All right, everybody. Well, welcome to tonight's call, everybody. We're going to talk about business building. I guess the Load the Bases edition. And I'm really excited when I get an opportunity to talk about actually building the business from a network marketing standpoint, because I truly believe that network marketing is one of the greatest industries on the planet. It really allows everyday individuals like myself, like John, like Nicole, like Robert, like James, and many other people, my team out there in Chicago and in Indianapolis. It allows us the ability to be able to build a wealth, a legacy, so that way we can pass down wealth to our generations without having to go through the traditional business format. However, a lot of people get the idea that the nuances that take place inside of network marketing are unique to network marketers, and that's just not the case. So whenever I get a chance to talk about business building, I always like to start off talking about mindset. I think mindset is definitely a key aspect to what it is that we do here, because I just personally believe that nothing's going to manifest itself for you until you're able to understand it from a mental perspective, when you actually have the mindset of a builder. I think something's going on where my screen isn't clicking over. Oh, boy. All right, there we go. Okay, so we have the mindset of builders, you guys. So what do you need? What do you mean you have the mindset of builders? myEcon is based off a couple simple principles, right? You first want to start talking about income shifting. Why do you want to income shift? Because you want to start to generate cash flow. You want to start to increase the cash flow that's coming into your household on a weekly, on a daily, monthly basis, right? So that's the first part. That's the first key to to myEcon. But going even further beyond that, one key aspect of introducing new cash flow into the household is that the opportunity to build leverage through a network marketing model. And that's what myEcon has perfectly positioned for individuals to take advantage of. Now, what we're talking about tonight is for builders, all right? You need to have a mindset of builders. And the things that come along with that is, first of all, you need to have a commitment, long term. I always tell people, hey, begin this thing with the end in mind. And I always likened it to maybe like college, right? If you go to college, or you're even thinking about going to college, if you sent the child off to college, or you yourself gone to college, you understand from day one that if you're going to go get an engineering degree, a business degree, a computer degree, an electrical degree, or whatever the case may be, you're not going to get that degree within a day or two, right? It's not going to happen within the first couple months. You're literally thinking about between 4 to 5 years commitment to doing the things that you have to do while you're in school to get that degree. And that's no different here inside of myEcon, right? You have to begin this thing with the end in mind, and you need to commit long-term to whatever your goals and dreams are, and then you need to follow that path and give it the adequate amount of time for you can achieve it. You also need to build belief. I think anything that you do in life is about building belief. The more belief you have in whatever it is that you're doing, the more passion you're going to commit to it. The more energy you're going to give it. So definitely, and that goes with anything in life. And then mastery. Mastery just comes from mastering mundane. Doing the same thing over and over again until it becomes a habit. All right, and that's the point of mastery, to where you can do this thing in an unconscious type of level. So let's talk about, first of all, let's talk about some facts about the network marketing industry. I know we got a lot of new people joining myEcon every single day. The Facebook page is always lit up with welcome to this individual, welcome this individual. Hey, congratulations on a brand new EVP promotion, an EVP Gold promotion. So there's a lot of momentum driving inside of myEcon. But yet and still, some people need to understand the facts about network marketing, because as a brand new person, I know you get excited to join about understanding income shifting and seeing that extra $200 to $1,000 back into your monthly paycheck. It's very exciting. I mean, when I first income shifted, I was a little skeptical, and I wanted to know, I know a couple of things, right? I always knew. Hey, I was always told there's 3 people you don't mess with: the I, the R, and the S. So when I first got started, I was like, look, I'm going to just try this thing out to make sure I'm not going to jail. This John guy is not misleading me, so on and so forth. I'm just joking when I say that. But there was a hesitance. There was a hesitance regarding the income shifting point. Now, from a network marketing standpoint, I had no hesitation, no reservations whatsoever, because I had been in the industry for 13 years prior to signing up with myEcon. I just wanted to make sure everything was on the up and up from what they were actually doing, because I had no idea about taxes and things of that nature. But a lot of people, brand new, have never even been exposed to network marketing. And they heard about that pyramid thing, and those things, the people at the top make all the money, so on and so forth. But do you guys understand that globally, 100 people join network marketing every year? Over 20 million people in the United States. That equates to about 1,000 people joining a network marketing company every single day in the United States. And this data is from 2016. So I'm not showing you data from 10 years ago, from 5 years ago, from 15 years ago. I'm showing you data from 11 months ago. All right, that's according to the Direct Selling Association. So just understand that today, 1,000 people join network marketing company. You got to ask yourself, what percentage of that 1,000 joined your business? Because they're joining, you just got to understand, are they joining your business? And that's what tonight's training is all about, how to get a percentage of that 1,000 people to join your business. It's a lot simpler than you think. All right, network marketing as an industry. Hey, because for individuals, because I always hear people say the pyramid scam, the pyramid scam, the pyramid scam, and I'm just saying, hey, if you're still talking about pyramid scams, it just means that you're asleep at the wheel. You're not paying attention to what's going on around you, okay? Network marketing industry, $183 billion globally, $36 billion in sales in the United States. Just ask yourself a question. If that type of money was going around globally, $36 billion in the United States, if something illegal was going on, I guarantee you some government agency would be all on top of it, all right? So 40% of that money that is paid out in commissions. That's roughly about, if you look at those numbers, it's $200 million every single day is being paid out to distributors, individuals like myself and individuals and everybody that's on this call tonight that's signed into myEcon. $200 million is paid out per day throughout the entire industry. So, again, ask yourself this question. What percentage of that $200 million is flowing into your bank account? How big is $103 billion? Well, we all know the NFL, they own a day of the week. On Sundays, you know, especially through the fall season and in the early part of winter, don't mess with me on Sundays because that is NFL day. They own that day of the week. They have outpaced church. But they still only generate $13 billion. When you think about the music industry, when you think about the video game industry, the video games industry is huge. You think about, you got grown men. I'm not part of that grown man that has done this, but I know my friends who are grown men have done this. Stand outside in line in order to purchase a video game at 12 o'clock at night. You know, I don't do that, but there are people spending money. That's $67 billion. And in the movie industry, right? We're talking about all these great movies that's coming out, $38 billion. The health and wellness of natural foods is $91 billion. When you add all those up, they still don't. They're just at about $183 billion. That's how big $183 billion is. All right. So real quick, I heard people talk to me, and they would always say, "Well, Derek, you know something? I'm all right with the network marketing aspect, but I heard only 3% success rate for people that get started in network marketing." And I like to professionally and kindly correct them in terms of what that rate really represents. And let's go back to college. We all understand that, hey, look, when I've gone to college, I know that not everybody that went to college was going to graduate with me. All right? It wasn't because college was something stacked against them. No. All it meant was they just didn't do what it took to graduate for whatever reason. And I'm not knocking anybody, or I mean, it actually took me 6 years to finish up school. So, you know, I understand the challenges that can come about when you're in college. But what I'm saying is this. For the individuals that graduate, they just did what it took to graduate. And the ones that didn't, they didn't. And that's the same thing when we talk about this 3%. See, a lot of people aren't positioned. They haven't been groomed. They haven't been educated enough to start businesses or even home-based businesses because we weren't conditioned that way. Myself, you know, Derek, go to school, get good grades so that you can graduate. You can go on and work a job. You know, I know that like the back of my hand because that's what I've been conditioned to do since birth. You know, so a lot of Americans, they just haven't been conditioned to be business owners in that regard. So when they step into business ownership, they don't understand the differences about being a business owner. So they fall out. They don't do what it takes to be successful. So what that 3% actually represents is the number of the individuals that do what it takes to be successful. So at that particular point, after me stating that, you should understand the 3% is a decision that you make. You decide whether or not you're going to be part of the 3%, or you decide if you're not. It's a decision that you make. Nothing can keep you from being successful inside of this business except for yourself. Guarantee you that. Now, why our industry, everybody? Why are we looking at our industry? Financial education. Well, I think it's very important to kind of understand who the market is and what's going on in the United States. We all understand the United States is the richest country on the planet, all right? You're talking about the United States is home to 5% of the world's population. Of all the population in the world, only 5% reside here in the United States. But the United States holds around 40% of all the world's wealth. That's how wealthy the United States is. 40% of all the world's wealth is hosted right here in the United States. Now the problem, well, out of that 40%, 5% they control about 80% of it. Right? The other 95% are toying with the 20%. All right, now, in statistics lay itself out right here. 66% of U.S. adults would struggle to cover a $1,000 crisis. That's 132 million people who lack emergency funds. Well, if you look at the myEcon strategy, that's one of the first things we talk about, is setting up your emergency fund. More than half of the United States have subprime credit scores. Subprime credit scores, again, another thing that we talk about, debt elimination. See, the worse your credit score is, the more it's going to cost you to borrow money. That's just how it is. You kind of wonder, well, I used to ask myself this when I had subprime credit scores. I would say, well, shoot, if the bank's going to charge me 15, 20% on a loan because they say I'm high risk, why not just don't give me the money? Just say, no, you can't have the money because you're high risk. But that's not what they're in business for. They're in business to look for subprime so they can make more money on a loan. They'd rather loan somebody $100,000 at 15% as opposed to loaning them $100,000 at 2% or 3% because they make more money. All right? 33% of U.S. adults don't pay their bills on time. Nearly 33% don't have savings account. And the average credit card debt is $11,000. I did not know that. I didn't think people can get credit card debt that high. But again, I guess that relates back to me having the subprime credit score in my younger years, so they wouldn't give me $11,000. All right, so understand that, guys. There is a need in our country. That's why we go through this slide there, where people are struggling financially. They don't have the financial education to make it. And if we continue along this path inside the United States, the next big bubble is going to be poverty. People are going to be they're going to be going poverty-stricken, and that's going to cause the United States economy to have a real big stumble. We kind of already experienced it in the 2005, 2006 with the Great Recession. And if we continue, and those things happen simply because of, obviously things taking place on Wall Street that aren't above board, but actually too, people, not being financially astute enough to make sure that they can avoid those type of pitfalls. And I was part of them. I was a part of the people that fell into pitfalls. I, actually had lost my home and was hiding from the repo man because I wasn't financially astute enough. Even though I had gone to school and got an engineering degree and was making good money, I wasn't being right by my money. So now let's talk about the recruiting process. Let's talk about the fun stuff, all right? Because it's not all gloom and doom. It's just recognizing a need in society and then providing the solution for that need. That's the key to gaining wealth, right? Understanding what the world needs, and then you come to the table and say, hey, look, I know you guys need this. Here's the solution, and that's what myEcon is all about, right? There's a problem in America with financial education, and we have an opportunity through our recruiting process to provide that solution in many households. I think it's a wonderful, wonderful thing. All right, load the bases. If you're brand new, you may not have heard this term before, but if you've been around, I know you've heard load the bases before, and I think it's a wonderful analogy to explain how it is we build our system. Now, let me share something with you guys, right? The load the bases, and I'm going to give you this idea. My sister has a bakery, in-home bakery. She makes cakes, and she's getting a lot of orders through for Thanksgiving. She's doing real well in terms of her orders. But she actually had to tell people she couldn't take in any more orders. Now, why couldn't she take in any more orders? And I was talking to her about this. I said, because, Michelle, it's because you're still in the self-employed aspect of your business. She said, well, what do you mean? I said, your business doesn't run without you. All right, you can't take an order and you don't have a system in place to meet the massive needs that you're getting. So because you got to build a system for your business to be able to meet that massive need. And she said, oh, okay. So now we start thinking about different ways to really grow her business from a system perspective. Well, in myEcon, we have a system already in place. Because as you start to funnel people through, you want to have a system in place that you can just plug them into so that way you can meet the needs of the many without having to, only being able to serve the few. And that's what load the bases is. And we liken it to the baseball analogy because it really just gives us an opportunity. We liken it to the baseball analogy because it really gives an opportunity that, hey, look, what do you do in baseball, right? You start off at home plate, and if you're not familiar with baseball, home plate is exactly where you see the big English D at. And then you want to move on over to the right to first base. And then the idea is to get to second base is right there in the center, and then on over to third and back to home where the English D is at. And once you cross home, you score a point. And that's the key of the bases. So you don't want to come in here and try and redesign this or come up with your own system. You can, but what we're saying is through decades and decades of network marketing, it's boiled down to this analogy. And this is how millionaires build a successful network marketing is through a concept like load the bases. Now, let's talk about something real quick before we start talking about load the bases. Because some people say, well, Derek, I'm trying to load the bases, and I'm building the business. However, I'm not seeing the fruits of my labor. And I asked them a question. I said, well, there's three things that you need to make sure you understand about building your business, all right? There's something that we call work. There's something that we call preparing to work. And then we call something that's called busy. And I'm going to go through each and every last one of them. All right, so for work, when you say you're actually building your business, the items down here in this row, this is what constitutes actual work inside of an opportunity like myEcon. Prospecting, how many individuals are you speaking to on a daily or a weekly basis about your business opportunities? Doing presentations, all right, presenting to individuals, whether it's you, whether you're using MaximumCashflow.com, whether you're using your upline, you want to get those prospects into a presentation. After a presentation, if they don't like it, then you want to see, well, customer acquisition. Hey, I totally understand myEcon isn't something for you, but I'm really involved in this. I really believe where it's going. It's helping my family and I out a lot. Could you do me a personal favor and try out one of my products or services? Right? So you always want to make sure that for individuals who don't want to do the business, you still want to follow up with them and say, hey, well, at least be a customer and help me out. That's very key into building your business. And when that duplicates throughout your organization, you can see massive, massive wealth start to build. Three-way calls, right? And I put new in parentheses there. And a three-way call is simply, if you're brand new, you want to get on the upline, you want to get on the phone with your upline and have them do a quick three-way call with your prospect, letting them know a little bit of information about what we're doing and trying to move them along the basis. So, and I put new there because some people want to call the same person 2, 3, 4, 5 times. And at some point, you're not building the business, you're kind of just spinning the wheels at that point. You want to make sure you're moving forward with traction. Follow-up calls, right? It's a fortune in the follow-up. All right, and I teach a system called the 3 strikes and you're out, of the 3-day sort rule, which actually goes along with how to actually do those follow-up calls, which makes it more robotic for you as opposed to saying, well, should I call this person back now? When should I stop calling them, things of that nature? I got a process that I can show you how to actually do your follow-up call to make it more routine for you. I'm doing orientations. Obviously, recruiting is a process. It's not an event. So after you get a brand new person, that's not the end game. That's the start in making sure they become successful. So orientations are key. And then also doing trainings like this one, right? As you get brand new people, we want to make sure they're plugging into these trainings so they can start to learn how to build the business. Now, the other aspect of it is preparing to work, right? So I think the key, and you'll hear me say this 1,000 times because it's the truest thing you can hear. You got to create a list, right? See, and somebody will ask me, well, dear, why is it creating a list part of work? Well, creating a list isn't a part of work until you start doing what the number one thing is, number four thing on there is three-way calls, all right? Once you create your list, you want to sit down with your upline partner and you want to start doing three-way calls. So creating the list is preparing the work because you're preparing to give them on the phone to upline and do three-way calls. Personal development is very, very key. I got a room full of books. You definitely want to make sure you take time out to develop yourself personally, mentally, and spiritually. Attending trainings like individuals tonight. My partner out there in California, Randy, he said he's taking time out to join the call between work, right? So that's definitely a commitment. So he's preparing he's learning this information so he can then go out and start to implement it. You know, be on accountability calls, and then you also want to make sure you're tracking your progress. Now let's talk about busy. And I like to share busy like this, you guys. Everybody's busy in life. You should be busy doing something. A lot of times people are busy being distracted, all right? So if you have a goal, and let's say I have a goal to recruit 20 people by the end of the year, all right? And I'm putting my focus in on that goal. So I'm out prospecting, I'm making calls, I'm doing presentations. So when a friend of mine calls me up and they say, hey, Derek, you want to go to the the basketball game tonight, or you want to go out to the football game, or you want to go have a drink at the bar and go socialize. And I can sit there, and at that point in time, I can say, hey, look, you know something? I'm kind of busy right now. After I got this goal in place, so all my energy is committed to doing that. See, it's not busy where I'm just overwhelmed busy, but my focus is on my goal. Now, the other aspect is I say, oh, yeah, I could do that, and I'm pushing my goal to the side, and I say, okay, well, great. And then what happens is people say, man, I'm so busy, I can't focus on the myEcon thing because I got so many other things going on in life. I call that busy being distracted. Because if it's not part of your goal to get you where you want to be in life, it's a distraction. So you got to make sure you make that clear. A couple of things, I had a little fun with this because some of this applied to me when I first got started in network marketing. You know, busy cleaning your office, all right, or complaining, looking for motivational quotes, looking for things that's not really part of your goals, getting ready to get ready. That was a really big one of mine. It was always, you know, so I got it. Once I get this, I'm going to do that. You're always getting ready to get ready, trying to create fancy presentations, and that's a view on everyone's Facebook page, right? Some people actually get caught up in the think that they're doing business because they're on Facebook and they're reading about their success and they're hearing about the training calls. Now, I'm not saying don't be on Facebook, but I'm saying make sure that you look at how much time you're spending on there and why you're on Facebook. I know a lot of people build their business through Facebook. That's perfectly fine. I'm not saying anything against that, but just plug it in and looking to see what's going on. That's busy. That's busy being distracted. Now, how much time should you allocate out? Well, 80% of your time needs to be spent work. You know, you need to spend 80% of your time doing the stuff that we're doing under the work category. 20% of your time needs to be spent doing the things under the preparing, and you need to literally spend just about 0% of your time under the busy being distracted category. All right, here's the problem. Most people have it flipped. They spend 80% of the time under the busy distracted category, and they still spend 20% of the time, and there's a mixture between there, but they spend absolutely no time prospecting, no time getting people on presentation, customer acquisition, and then they wonder why their business isn't growing, and then they say, well, myEcon doesn't work. No, myEcon works perfectly. You're just not spending any time working it. And that's what I want people to understand with this slide. So moving on from there, it's about work, everybody. It's not about talent. You're not going to have a $10 work ethic and make millions of dollars, right? You can't have that, all right? If you want to make millions of dollars, you have to put in the prerequisite amount of work to help you get there. And the beautiful thing about it is all the decisions that you make. Again, myEcon is a business. It's a system that's already been proven to produce millionaires where people have been able to retire from their jobs. There are people in myEcon that have retired. There are people who in myEcon who haven't. Just decide which part of the road that you want to be on, and then you go execute the things that they've been able to do to be successful. It's about duplication in our process, ladies and gentlemen. That's all it's about. You always want to talk about compensation. I'm not going to go into a compensation plan tonight. We'll say that for the next call, maybe next Tuesday or the following Tuesday. We'll do a detailed compensation plan. But real quickly, you get started as a marketing director, and you just want to move to the right. The first position is EVP. That's the first earned position that you EVP. Then you have EVP Gold, EVP Platinum, EVP Infinity. You want to just move along to the right. Well, how do you get there? How do you get to EVP Gold, EVP Platinum, EVP Infinity? Shoot, how did you even get to EVP if you're an MD? 3 is the key to win. When you get started, ladies and gentlemen, you get started as a marketing director or as an MD. When you recruit your first 2 people into myEcon, share with them the information, let them sign up and get the income shifting membership. You now have 2. You are new. The little icon right there, EVP. You are promoted to EVP. From that point, you want to start what's called your base shop. All right. So the third person you recruit will now be coming to your base shop. And every time you get a brand new person started, directly sponsored to you, you get a $35 commission. And as they continue to build out there, and as you help them do 3 is the key. As they continue to build out, you get commissions and bonuses on top of it. We are really simple in taking this thing down to the very essence of network marketing. All right, to just really think about keeping it very, very simple. You want it simple so that it can duplicate. All right, because that's the key to what it is to be successful. That's how you move along the chart from EVP to EVP Gold to EVP Platinum to EVP Infinity. Is duplication of a very simple idea. Now, let's say this. If you look at the first line base shop, when you first get started, you get 3 in your base shop. That's going to be a $105 payout. The total earnings on that is $105. Now, if that duplicates down, with 3 who gets 3, that'll be 6, 12, 24, 48, all the way down, what's that, 7, 9 generations deep. You're talking about just under 800 people in your whole entire organization. Now, this is just an example, just illustrative purposes. It'll never happen like this because for whatever you do, people aren't going to get started, or if they are going to get started, they're not going to have the forewithal to go forward and recruit 3, even if it's as simple as that is. That's just the nature of the beast. That's the nature of what we have our hands on. But it doesn't mean that you won't be successful. So, but as this duplicates out, you're going to have some form of this, and we're talking about a $38,000 bonus. So as you see myEcon saying, hey, look, the 3 is the key, $38,000 challenge. This is what we're talking about. Now, let me share something with you guys. This is an analogy I was thinking about. We're talking about baseball, all right? And we know baseball players, and I'm not sure if you're familiar with baseball players, but they make a lot. They're the highest paid athletes on average in all the sports, all right? There's no salary caps. That's how an individual can get paid $210 million over a 15-year career. You got Miguel Cabrera, who's earning about $25 million a year right now, and he can't even keep his back is always hurting. Now, people say, well, these guys must be great. They must be doing something fantastic. Miguel Cabrera's batting average, I don't know what it was, but for his career, it's about, they call it 300 or 30%. So that means that every time he goes up to bat 10 times, and for every 10 times he's up at bat, he hits the ball 3 times. Think about that. Every 10 times he goes to bat, he hits the ball 3 times. That means the other 7 times, he strikes out or he doesn't get on base. But he's getting paid $25 million, and they say he's going to be a Hall of Famer. So why in the world would you think that you need to recruit everybody? You need to have a 100% success rate. It does not exist. In myEcon, if out of every 10 people that you recruit, that you speak to, 10 of them get started, we're going to put you on stage so you can train. That's the beauty about what's going on here. You're not going to have a 100% success rate. 30% would be great. 20% is fantastic. 10% is just about right. All right? 1 to 10. Now, I know some people say, well, I had 6 people join and 6 people got started. Or, I had 20 people join and 15 people got started. Hey, the law of large numbers will average it out. At some point, you're going to have 20 people look at the business and 2 people going to get started. All right. So, but I think that's a great night in and of itself. So just understand that, you guys, that major league, Steph Curry, right? I'm not sure if you guys know who Steph Curry is, basketball player for the Golden State Warriors. They say he's the greatest three-point shooter that ever existed of all time. I think Steph Curry shoots a little bit above 40% from the three-point line. 40%. That means he misses 6 times. He misses more than he makes, but yet and still he's getting paid hundreds of millions of dollars. So ask yourself, are you ready for that? Are you ready to strike out 7 times and still make millions of dollars? Are you ready to miss your shot 6 times and still make millions of dollars? Because that's what we're talking about. Okay. Now, some people say, well, Derek, I don't know 3 people. Hey, 330 million people in the United States. If you don't know 3 people, it's because you haven't been living right. And I say that jokingly, but I'm telling you this. There's no excuse not to be able to recruit at least 3 people, and we duplicate that process down, okay? We got 2 lists. If you're brand new, we want you to focus on what's called your warm market, all right? That's the people that you already know. You don't have to be best friends with them, but you have some type of relationship with them where they know you, you know them, so on and so forth. And then cold market are people who you absolutely do not know. You haven't met them before. You're going to run into them tonight at the grocery store. You're going to run into them tonight. You're going to run into them tomorrow when you're pumping gas. When you're going to run into them at the stores on Black Friday. You're going to be standing there complaining about how cold it is outside when you should be at home eating your turkey dinner or what on Thursday night. Whatever the case may be, these are people who you're going to run into in the future. This is your cold market. Remember, guys, it's a numbers game. We're going to first talk about your warm market. When you're first brand new started, you want to create a list. And even if you've been in the business for a while, I think it's always a good idea to sit down and recreate your warm market list and kind of go back through that list again. Because I like to tell people as we're recruiting, no is not forever. It's just no for right now. So you always want to be able to follow back up with people. Say, hey, you know something? I spoke to Derek 3 months ago. And he said he wasn't interested at that time. Let me just follow up to see how everything is going with him, or things of that nature. When I first took a look at myEcon, it was so funny. I don't know the exact date, but it was around this time when my good friend Michael Stansborough, who went to Michigan State with me, called me up and said, "Hey, look, I got an opportunity for you to look at." I didn't actually take a look at the presentation until sometime in January, and I had signed up. So we're talking about a month and a half, or maybe 2 months before I got started, and I signed up because they were running a promotion at that time, but I still wasn't even completely sold on what was going on. I didn't have my first home presentation until May of that following year. All right, so understand, guys, everybody's going to go at this thing at their own pace. All you want to do is make sure that you're persistent in the follow-up and you're professionally persistent in your follow-up. So you want to create a list of everybody that you know, brand new people. Your list should be extremely long. Now, I like to tell people to put 100 names on their list, but some people sit back and they get kind of worried and they say, I think that's overwhelming, Derek. I say, well, look, start off with 3. All right? If you're going to be a superstar and you just recruit 3 out of the 30, that's great. Right? That means 27 people told you no, 3 people got started. We got 3 is the key, and we're winning. You're an EVP with your base shop qualified, and we're driving. That's what we're worried about. So create a list of at least 30. If 10% get started from the 30, you got your 3, and we're moving along. And we duplicate that throughout your organization. Now, what's the process? Well, we put them on first base. These are the things that we talked about. So first base is you're going to get on the phone with your upline. We're going to have a conversation with them. We're going to say, hey, look, you know something? My name is Derek Holyfield. I'm working here with Nicole Pettaway. She told me you were interested in learning how to bring in an extra $200 to $1,000 a month, so on and so forth. And they say, oh, yes. If the individual that we're speaking to says, yes, well, I'm interested in getting some more information, we're going to send them a 7-minute video, or we're going to send them to MyCast. We're going to send them to MaximumCashflow.com so that way they can have an opportunity to read it. I mean, not read it, but to view the information on that website. And once they say that, we're going to move them along to second base. All right, so now at second base is the overview. It's any type of overview explaining the opportunity. All right, so it's typically, I know John does a great presentation. He has it pre-recorded on MaximumCashFlow.com. I think he just updated it to cover the 3 is the key that we're promoting right now. I've sent countless people to that website that signed up. So the key factor there is it works. All right, you can go out and reinvent the wheel and do all these other things, but MaximumCashFlow.com, it works. And if it works, use it. Okay? So all we do is, hey, look, Nicole, go to MaximumCashFlow.com, take a look. So Nicole says, okay, she's at second base now. So she's viewing MaximumCashFlow.com. So then what's going to take place is Nicole and I are going to set up a time to follow up. All right? And she said, well, we'll talk in a day or two, and I'll follow up with Nicole. And so I called Nicole, and I called up and said, hey, Nicole, this is Derek following up to see if you have an opportunity to take a look at MaximumCashFlow.com. At this point, we're on third base, okay? Follow up with your upline. And at this point, you guys, we want to sort. A lot of people, they join into a network marketing company, and they say, well, I'm not a salesperson. Great, I'm not a salesperson either. All right, I remember back in the day, I didn't want to go into some clothing stores because the person it's like the picky salesperson, right? So I totally agree with you 100% on that, but it's not necessarily selling when you're sorting. You know, again, we understand that right now, the average American has a lot of debt. They don't have savings. They're $1,000 debt away from bankruptcy. You know, there's so many different things going on inside the average American's household that we have a solution to help them prepare themselves going forward. So all you want to find out is, hey, look, are you interested in hearing the information that we got? Are you going to take a look at the presentation? And then after you take a look at the presentation, there's 3 people that I look for, and I sort through those 3 people. I affectionately call these people a traffic light, right? Red light, yellow light, or green light. What do you do at a red light? Everybody, you stop. That's a person who doesn't want to move forward, correct? So if they're a red light, I'll ask them, I'll say something like, hey, Nicole, this is Derek just following up with you. See if you had a chance to take a look at the MaximumCashFlow.com presentation prepared by my good friend and executive EVP Infinity, Mr. John Pettifor. And Nicole say, yep, I did take a look at it. And I'll follow up and say, hey, Nicole, what did you like best about what you saw? And she'll give me some information, and I'll take that information. We'll have a conversation. And I'll ask, and I'll say to Nicole exactly like this. Hey, Nicole, at this point in time, we just kind of getting an idea of where you see yourself fitting in with us, right? Do you see yourself being a red light? That's a person that says, hey, look, I'm in. I'm not interested. It was a great presentation, but right now it's not for me. I'm going to stop at this point. That's a red light. Then you got a yellow light. Nicole says, you know something? It's very interesting. I like what I saw here, but I do have some additional questions, all right? That's a yellow light. You're making a decision. Like, what do you do when you're approaching the yellow light? When you're approaching that yellow light, you're making a decision. Am I going to go through it or am I going to stop? All right? And in Detroit, if you depending upon where you're at, you kind of figure, well, maybe I can make this light, and so I'm going to go through it. Otherwise, no. People run these lights all the time. Stop. Right, so that's the decision process. So a person says, hey, I'm a yellow light. I got some questions. Well, we want to get their questions answered from the people who know and get their quick and answer. You don't want to answer 15,000 questions, right? You want to answer maybe 2-3 questions at the most, because that's really their concerns around, hey, how much time does it have? Is this legitimate? How can I take the tax deductions? You want to make sure you explain those things. I'm very busy right now. How can I fit this into my schedule? It typically used to be about money, but at $35 a month, I don't see that being a money issue at all. And if that is the case, we definitely need to make sure we get them signed up right away, because they can actually put that money back into their paycheck within the next 10 to 14 days. So, and then the other part of the traffic light is the green light. Hey, Nicole, what'd you think? Hey, I'm in. Let's go. When can I sign up? How can I get started? All right. And once that happens, Nicole moves to home plate. We score. We got a brand new MD. And if Nicole said, hey, look, I'm not interested, I say, well, look, no problem, Nicole. Could you do me a personal favor and try out one of my services? I'm really involved in this. I'm really excited, and I could use your support to be one of my customers. We scored a run. And the whole goal in any of the things that we talked about is actually scoring. All right. You see people play basketball all the time. They get real fancy, dribbling the ball. But the end game is to put the ball in the hole. And if they're not putting the ball in the basket, then what's the point of all the fancy dribbling? All right? So keep it as simple as that. We want to make sure we get them around the bases so they can score, and we want to immediately get them into our enrollment process for and do an orientation. So the quick start orientation is very key. You want to make sure if you're a brand new person, that's something that should be performed by your upline. I always advise that you sit in on those quick start orientations so that way you can start to learn it, and it also helps to reduplicate and helps you to become more mastery of the process and understanding of the next step. So, and you just want to repeat this over and over and over again. Just repeat it over and over and over again. Just take your prospects and put them into the system and run them through the basis. All right. Cold market prospecting, that's for individuals that have gone through a good portion, a sizable portion of their warm market, and they need to continue to do prospecting. We'll do another call because I see we're running up on 9 o'clock. So we'll do another call on cold market prospecting, again, at another time. But definitely, if you got any questions about cold market prospecting, you can feel free to ask questions. So what I'm going to do at this time, that does it for this portion.